Hello and welcome to the PPG IndyCar World Series, or as we want to call it here as ISO, the 1987 Kart Championship. Coming to you tonight from the Phoenix International Raceway, which is promising to be a fantastic race. And with me in the booth tonight I have Ryan Walker, who will be joining me for most, if not all, of the oval races. How are you doing tonight, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. It's looking forward to this this season and covering the series, and I think the racing in general should be good. And oval racing is it always produces great close racing, but sometimes it can end up with some accidents as well. But nevertheless, looking forward to it, and tonight should be a good race.
Generally speaking, I would absolutely agree with you. And obviously, 1987, the year before 1988, we have done a 1988 championship. God in heaven, I've forgotten who actually won that championship. Oh dear. I can't rack my brain. We'll sort it out later. But we have done a championship with that. This is, as I mentioned, the year before, so a few of the cars we will have seen before. We will be looking at those in a moment, but before that we have the Phoenix International Raceway to quickly check out on the track display. It's a 1 mile distorted oval, meaning there's technically 5 turns in the American way of counting it. 1 and 2, then the dogleg at turn 3, and then 4 and 5 at the end. And with it being a 1 mile oval, the drivers tonight will be doing 200 laps. And based on what we've seen and heard, it's going to be a bit of all hands on deck. Based on what I'm seeing right now, there's a lot of sliding going on. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Go on.
Yeah, I was just about to say as well regarding that. I was watching practice earlier, and some cars and drivers were sliding around quite a lot. So don't be surprised if you see that as the race goes on, and maybe as the car gets lighter, the car will start moving around a little bit. So it'll be something to keep an eye on.
It definitely will be. And another thing to keep an eye on, I suppose, for all of you watching, will be the fact that the point scheme is a tiny bit different. It's still 1st to 12th that score the main race points, with 20 points going to the winner, and then 4 points less for second, and then it drops by 2 points all the way down to 7th, and then 1 point less for each place after that. But the two things that will be of interesting note is that the pole position rewards 1 point for the championship, and also the most laps led, something for us all to try and keep an eye on, I suppose, to see who snatches that point that can most likely prove very valuable towards the end of the year and end of the championship. And we also have a couple other graphics courtesy of Jason White. The chassis we'll be seeing in this 87 Kart PPG IndyCar World Series Championship Series will be the Lola's T86 /00 and the Lola T87 /00. There will also be Marches, the 85C, 86C and 87C. The 87 is obviously the most updated of those cars. The 85, I think, is the most dated car in terms of design of the whole field. And I believe it was an 85C that the stock block V8 in the 88 series was bolted in. And I don't think there are any Penske PC16s in this particular race, but a little bit later in the championship we will be seeing the PC16 make its debut as well. And we also have a trio of engines that we will be seeing. The biggest part of the field will be consisting of Cosworth DFX V8s, but we'll also see a few Ilmor Chevy 265A V8s, and I believe 1 or 2 Brabham Honda V8s. We will also, for the Indy 500, later on in the championship, be seeing a few Buick V6s and I believe a single Chevy V6 engine. And now that we've been blabbering on enough, let's actually take us onto the racetrack to see what is going on and mainly have a look at some of the contenders. We have currently fastest David Jakes in the Doug Shearson Racing entry, the Domino's Pizza fast car, number 30. I believe that is a Lola 86... No, March 8... No. I need to bring up my sheet, so to speak. It's a March 87 car, I believe, that he is running there. And that is one of the... should be one of the more competitive cars. And obviously David Yates, one of our fastest drivers here at ISO.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always been handy in the open wheel cars, on the roadside and on the oval side of things as well. And never one to count out of winning races or doing well in races. And if I was betting on a winner around here tonight, David Jakes would be one of my picks for sure.
I would certainly agree. Here we can see Richard Coxson driving the number 1 Budweiser car, driven in real life by Bobby Rahal, and for this particular race in the championship he'll be running a Lola T87. I'm fairly sure that is. Actually see, yep. The main way to see that, if any of you want to check that out yourself, is by the behind the helmet there you can see a triangular entrance for the air going into the engine. That's the main telltale there. Another March 87 in the hands of Bouchard, currently second in warm-up. Actually a Lola 87, a March 87 also in 4th. And in 5th, oh dear. And in 6th, they are definitely flying here. That's another one. Ooh. Oh dear, and Grant Woodall with an off. Let's see, here we have another car. Dave Miller driving the number 16. That is a... There we have it, a March 86. And you can see that mainly by the very pointy rollover hoop. By look of it, more designed to cut the air as well as possible rather than protect the driver driving the car. Oh dear, K.O. McKeel's with an off as we cut to him, and unfortunately another driver involved too.
Yeah, from some of the laps I've done around this track, yeah, during the week offline, I found it on the exit of that corner, it's so easy to lose the rear of the car. So I think some drivers, if they try and push too much, or maybe just take the wrong line on the exit of the corner, they might lose it and end up hitting the wall, or even spin into the pit wall, like we've seen already so far tonight. But yep, I think drivers are maybe just pushing a little bit to try and find the limit.
Indeed, definitely so. I wasn't entirely correct in my assumption. The Penske PC16 is here in the number 8 entry, the Pennzoil car, in the hands in our championship in Bruno Pagiola, which will be interesting to see. And I just worked out one of the ways to spot the older March cars. Here is one of them. You can mainly see the March 85 car by two things. One, the rollover hoop, like the triangular bottom there, has a part that shuts it off, and the newer ones there aren't. And two other things. The front end nose, as you can see, is very, very wide and bulbous. And the rear, like winglets on the left rear there, is a bit less sloped than on the newer March cars. Interesting to see there. Was that Grant up in front? It is. So Grant now fastest in this warm-up session with the Craco car. It's likely jump on board with him and ride along for a lap and see what the car... Oh, he might be pitting actually. Okay, he is. Let's see if Yates is continuing. Yep, he's going through 1 and 2 now. Now with the dog leg at 3 with Jason White coming out of the pits, and then the 4 and 5 coming onto the front straight once again. A very, very short, fast lap here. Only 1 mile, but it's all of it is adrenaline junkie territory. And even more interesting here is the Andretti Skoal Racing car, now top of the line in the hands of Schlapinski, another driver who has proven to be a very handy oval driver. And I wonder, with 1.5 minutes to go, any assumptions on who we might see winning this one, Ryan?
It's hard to tell because everyone's so close, and the caliber of drivers is so good that it's hard to predict the winner. But I think my pick for tonight is going to be 8th place man in the warm up is Jacob Fregerson.
Indeed, that is a very fair call. Driving one of the newer Marches, I think that is a 87 March in the Machinists Union entry, sponsored by Huskies. No, sorry, Hardee's. So used to Huskies chocolate due to the modern day sponsorship, but Hardee's is also the sponsor there. But yeah, I can definitely see your point there. Jacob has proven to be a very, very handy tactician in these oval races. And I'm not sure... Based on the... I'm purely basing this really on the real-life event where... Is it really the real-life event though? No, it isn't. I'm thinking of the 88 event, I think. I'm probably basing it on the 88 race, but I'm Probably going to say Ray, actually. He's driving the Newman Haas racing entry. And I honestly believe he has a good chance here of doing
Yeah,
very well.
I was going to say that as well. Ray Riddell is maybe, I wouldn't say not as quick as Grant, but maybe just I've always been used to seeing him running in the midfield, but I think tonight could be the perfect opportunity for Ray Riddell to possibly get up there and finish on the podium.
It's definitely going to be interesting to watch. Interesting, actually. Jakob Fredriksson only qualified 21st on the grid. So, not very high up, but it'll be interesting to see how that all goes. And interesting to see that Vadim Tachak has taken the pole position for RCR Racing. That's very interesting indeed. And it looks like Richard Coxson has lined up second on the grid, with Coxson third. And then we're waiting for a few other cars to join the grid. Looks like a couple are cutting it fine, but it looks like everyone has joined. Oops. I'm in the wrong window here. There we are. So Tachak is on pole position and leads the championship with that 1 point he has earned from that. David Yates lines up second in the Doug Shearson racing car. Richard Coxson third for True Sports. Richard Wilkes fourth for Hemmelgarn Racing. Ray Riddell fifth for Newman Haas. Kyle Vesa, newcomer here at ISO, lines up sixth for the leader card racing entry. Jus Bouchard seventh. Schlapinski eighth. John Team ninth. Juha Bosin 10th. Grant Riddell in 11th. Luciano Rocha 12th. Hackman 13th. Ibanez 14th. Watering 15th with Lee Moore. Looks to have not even loaded into the session here in 16th. Pagiola 17th, Saber 18th, Canola 19th, Miller 20th, Fredriksson 21st, Michiels 22nd, White 23rd, Chacon 24th, Kowalski 25th, and Fitch 26th, I believe. And a few others as well, as we are now green and underway. Tachak has taken the green flag, and everyone in behind trying to do their best.
And David Jakes trying to make a move on the outside of Richard Coxson. That's a bit bold on that one, but if they can pull it off, it'll be a great move. But Jakes has still got the momentum heading down to turn one, but decides to tuck in behind Coxson, and it looks like it's been a relatively clean start by the looks of it.
Oh, and unfortunately David Saber in the Marlboro car has had a spin in 4 and 5 and has sent to the pit lane for repairs. Coxson now wide in 4 and 5, but holds on around outside. Wow! Oh, and that's a tight end exit 2 behind there between, that's Wilkes and Bouchard.
Well, just watching Coxson and Jakes getting really close to making contact, that was a bit of a scary moment.
Oh, it definitely was, and even scarier behind, I think, especially for Bouchard, who was trying to go around outside and trying again here on Wilkes. Again out the outside. Ooh, great racing between these two, and it looks like Bouchard has had the momentum now. Ooh, Wilkes running it a bit wide, but that's Bouchard taking the position. So Bouchard up to 4th and very close in behind. Ray Riddell taking advantage. Wilkes defending very hard indeed. And Vesa got held up by all of that, and Grant Riddell sneaks past and up into 6th.
Yeah, this is fantastic racing, but I think someone needs to tell these guys it's a 200 lap race, not a sprint race. So yeah, just need to be careful and just settle down.
Well, it's easier said than done, that's for sure. And it's probably a little bit of everyone is antsy and wants to get going. Kowalski has unfortunately retired as well in the last lap or so. Looks like it might have been a spin somewhere, or maybe even a disco actually. Okay, that's very unfortunate for him. So Tatchak about half a second in the lead, ahead of Coxson, Yakes, followed by Bouchard in fourth, Wilkes fifth, Grant Riddle, Vesa, Ray Riddle and Shlapinski and Bulls rounding out the top 10. And further good racing there, Banyeth, Fitch and not sure who that last one was, Michiels maybe, in a good battle too.
Yeah, just in front of McKeel's as well as Jason White, so it looks like these guys have just spread a little bit and not. I think they maybe decided to not fight too hard, but at the moment McKeel's in the Gallus racing machine, currently sitting in 21st, but as Jason White loses it on the final corner just a little bit, that could have ended up in disaster.
So that's the Gallus racing car. I think that's the car in this race with the Brabham Honda engine in the back. Oh, and up ahead, that's definitely getting close there. Fitch, I think, has gotten around the Banyeth. Alberto Senior, that is, and Canola trying to take advantage, not able to do so in that 85 March. Winnie Banyeth wide again in the Penske. One Canola with the run now.
Yeah, I was going to say Canola's got a great run if he can hold the inside and they get ahead of the even as before the start-finish line, he'll have the move done, and yes, he has. So yeah, great move by Canola.
I reckon that's more or less a carbon copy of what Fitch would likely have done. And now the second Penske is on the ropes for those two guys, because it looks like both the Penskes are a little bit off form at the moment here.
Yeah, very surprised. I thought the Penskes would have been probably going quicker, but I think maybe Pagiola's maybe just decided to take it easy and just look after the car at this stage of the race instead of pushing at the moment. But I think maybe just off the pace slightly by the looks of it.
Yeah, especially compared to some of the other guys in the race at the moment. As I noticed, Jason White got past Ibanez, and now Michiel sneaking underneath too. Oh, Michiel's loose! Oh, what a save! Deary me, that was very close indeed. That could have so easily have ended in disaster.
Yeah, I think I would have woken up Michiel's, and I think he might require a change of underpants after that.
Definitely so, and even more so maybe for Ibanez, who had a front row seat for all of that. And now Canola sneaks underneath Pagiola on the exit of 5 and down into 1. I think that's the position done. It is, and Jason White very sneakily makes use of that and sneaks underneath as well. Some great racing up and down the field here. Hackman in the AJ Foyt car. August Worting there in the second of the Marlboro sponsored Patrick Racing entries. Jon Team in the second of the Machinist Union. Machinist Union running nose to tail here. 2 Swedes in their cars. And Ferguson sizing up a move on Juha Bos in the Rainer car.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like Jacob's got the run on the Juha, and I think Juha's going to load to the inside. So it looks like Jacob might have to try and make the move on the outside if he can carry the momentum and carry it down the home straight. He might be able to get the move done. He's got the run, but they're still side by side.
Good room given by Bos, still side by side going into 1, and Ferguson can. Oh no, Bos holds on. Wow. But that's oval racing for you.
Yeah, absolutely, and not too far behind these guys is another Swedish driver, Jon Team in the background there.
Indeed. Oh, and now Ferguson up the inside in 1, and I think Bos concedes the position there indeed. And up ahead, Riddle in 9th at the moment. Chacon a lap down there, letting the faster cars by. I should know the name of that car, that car team by heart, but it's eluding me. Schlapinski currently in 8th in that what I called Skull Bandit car, but I think it's technically Curb Racing in 87. With the Grant with all ahead in 7th, and then Bouchard in 6th now, with Wilkes in 5th, and Kyle Vesa up into 4th. So Battle Train running there, and way ahead in oval terms, 4 seconds up the road is Coxson, running in a trio with Yakes and Tutchuk still in the lead.
Absolutely, I was going to say Kyle Visa as well, having a great debut race so far in the ISO league, and they doing well in 4th position, and like tries to get by a backmarker. What's his name? Rocha, I think. So it manages to get by without any issues.
And I think that is a March 86 entry that Vesa is driving. Actually, that's even more impressive. If that's the case, I'll have a little double check of that. It's a March 87 actually, Cothworth powered. He's standing in for Mike Olson, who's originally driving that car, I believe. So even more impressive that he's got that car up to very decent speed indeed, as he goes around the car of Francisco Amaral, who's having a slight connection issue there, it looks like. Car moving around a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm just watching it back up at the front as well. David Jakes is falling back from Vadim Teziak, so it looks like it's a battle for second place between Jakes and Coxson at the moment, and Coxson gets close to every lap, but I think it's just a dirty error. I think just trying to stay in the slipstream, it's making it a bit difficult. But as I say that, he's got to run head down home straight. He's going to try and make a move down the inside. It looks like he'll get the move done.
Nicely done, but Yakes trying to fight back. Both of them Cosworth powered. But Coxson looks to be holding on. I wonder if that's a difference in the chassis. Coxson obviously running the March 87 while... Yakes running the March 87 while Coxson is running the Lola 87 car. Oh, and Coxson immediately onto the rear wing of Vadim Tutchuk, possibly Tutchuk being slightly held up by Michiels there. That's part of old racing too, knowing how to work around traffic.
Yeah, I was going to say Coxson closed down the gap to Teziak like crazy, and I think it might have just been down to traffic because Teziak is just pulled away ever so slightly again, so it looks like traffic is starting to come into play now, and I think don't be surprised if you see some drivers maybe pitting early just to try and get out of that traffic.
Indeed so. Ooh, and Vesa cutting it very fine with the exit wall or 2, but it looks like he is pulling away at the moment from Richard Wilkes behind him, and he also is opening up a bit of a gap to Bouchard, who is having his hands full with Schlapinski and Grant Vidal. Schlapinski sizing up a bit of a move there into 1 and 2, but thinks better of it. And Fredriksson currently 9th, with Ray Vidal having dropped back to 10th. Wonder if Ray is possibly feeling a bit of tire strain or just trying to take it a little bit easy at the moment.
It's possible. Oh, it's his debut on the track. He almost had an incident.
Oh dear, let's see. Oh, Looks like that's possibly David Saber's front wing or Chacon's front wing. Let's see what happened here. Oh, Chacon spun, and unfortunately Saber with nowhere to go there. Let's try and watch that from on board Saber's car very quickly here. On board the front nose of his car. You can see Chacon up ahead and Chacon spin, dropping the rear downforce with Dave Miller close behind, and Saber with absolutely nowhere to go. That's very unfortunate, as David Yates does the fastest lap of the race right now. That's very impressive, considering it looked like he had tire troubles just a moment ago. And looks like Coxson could have a run here. He looked to have a very good entry into 4 and 5, and he is up the inside down the front straight. Tachak trying to keep Coxson low, but Coxson runs deep in the corner, runs a little bit wide, and Tachak trying to sneak back up the inside, but Coxson takes the lead. Coxson in the True Sports #1 up into the lead in the Checker 200.
Yeah, that was a great move by Coxson. He pretty much took the opportunity when it presented itself, and takes the lead now. And Tasiak tried to do the switchback and trying to retake the lead, but no luck. And I think I wonder if David Jakes is maybe just backing off a little bit and looking after the car and looking after the tyres.
Could definitely be the case. And now Jakob Ferguson looks to be somewhat on the move, trying to go round outside of Grant Riddall. Wow, and it looks like he's actually going to pull it off too. I don't know if Coxson Grant Riddall let him by or not, but that looked very easy for Ferguson. Now trying to go round outside of Jules Bouchard 2 into 1. Oh, that won't work. We've seen that fail before.
Watson's grumble. Oh, I thought there was going to be contact between Fredriksson and Vidal there. That was so close. But Jakob Fredriksson, I'm just watching him carry that momentum on the outside. It's just unbelievable.
Wow!
Like, whoa, holy moly.
That's one of those hold on to your hats and your pants.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's contact. Oh. Looks like both of them survived. Bouchard still up the inside. Wow, this is some really close, intense racing. Looks like Ferguson now will definitely secure the move, unless he runs deep into 1 again. Meanwhile, Grant Riddall looking up the inside of Bouchard. Bouchard holding on though, and Jakob Ferguson again deep in 1 and 2. No run off the corner. Bouchard trying to go round outside himself now.
This is fantastic stuff. As they get closer yet again, this is how they've not had any contact or had an accident is unbelievable. But it just shows that the amount of respect and the was contact between them.
I think that's Ferguson preferring the high line. He has some understeer on the low line. Bouchard obviously out there and still alongside, but a bit of contact made. Both of them survive again. But I think they are both having heart rates above the 200 range at the very moment.
Yeah, pretty much, and this is fantastic stuff. And I have to agree, Jacob keeps going on the high line, and I think the low line he's just losing too much momentum. So he's using that high line to try and carry as much speed and momentum as possible. And it seems to be, maybe it seems to suit his setup and the way he set the car up. But at the moment, he needs to keep an eye on Jules and Grant behind him, because if he makes a mistake, they'll be there to take the opportunity and take the position back. But still, this is fantastic stuff. And just in front of Fredriksson is Jason White, who are coming up to lot now.
And Grant now up the inside of Bouchard, and it looks like Grant has secured that move. Meanwhile, watching Jason White here.
Oh, contact!
Oh, there's more contact. White and McKeel's 2 up ahead of them. Oh, and there's more contact. Ferguson in the wall. I think he made contact with Jason White. Oh, yeah, dear.
I was just watching. He tagged the right rear wheel of Jason White, and unfortunately he got sent into the wall. And I had a feeling that something like that was going to happen.
Well, that's extremely unfortunate. David Sabers retired with the damage he sustained in that second off of his, that time with Chacon, unfortunately. And that off was very unfortunate as well. I'm not sure if either driver can be said to have been at fault, but as you say, it was definitely coming to a climax in one way or another, that battle. Oh, and Pajola spun a stationary on the front straight, now exits out. Wow.
Yeah, I just caught that in the corner of my eye. That was close to ending up and being a disaster.
Oh, that's straight in front of the leaders too, I think. All of them doing a very good job in avoiding that. Keo Michiels coming out of the pit lane after his first pit stop of the race. I think that's a tad bit early to be pitting.
Yeah, I thought if you're towards the rear of the field anyway, you would want to try and go as long as possible, but basically try and empty the tank. But yeah, I think some drivers maybe just wanting to try and get out of traffic and not be in a battle too much at this stage of the race. But behind him, behind Michiels, he's got who is that? Is that Laspinski? Oh, yeah, not sure. Trying to block on an oval is the best thing to do.
No, indeed. And I noticed Coxson has taken the lead now, 1.7 seconds ahead of Tatchak. Like properly open up the lead, I suppose I should say. Kyle Vesa doing a fantastic job. Oh no, that's a spinner! I think that's Wilkes! It is!
Yes, Wilkes.
Ah, yeah, that's really unfortunate. It looks like he'll be trying to keep going, but he needs to find a hole in the traffic. That won't be easy. I think he has... No, that's... Wow, there's no opening at all in the traffic. Now there should be enough. No, now there is. Here he goes. Oh, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, if he can't move, that might be a full course caution.
Ooh, I think...
Oh, he's escaped.
I reckon that's a... Oh, I can't find a hole. I can't really reverse and go forward. Cooking the engine. I'll concede. That's very unfortunate for Wilkes. He was really looking forward to this race. I know he really enjoys his oval racing. He had a good run of it, but unfortunately 46 laps is the end of his run and race. So that means Alberto Ibanez up into 17th in the remaining Penske. Still off the pace, but keeping running is a good step in the right direction, I suppose. White still running, possibly with a little bit of rear right damage after the contact between him and Fredriksson. Fitch a little bit up ahead of White, still running for Gore Racing. Dave Miller still running as well in the 86 March for Bettenhausen Motorsports. Watering still out there for Patrick Racing, now the last remaining Patrick Racing car on the track as well. Hackman still running for AJ Foyt, the last points paying position at the moment. Canola up ahead of him in 11th in the 85 March. Bose in 10th for Reina. Yon team now up into 9th with the demise of Wilkes, and just ahead of him is Ray Riddle, so a possible nice little fight there. Jos Bouchard and Grant Riddle, and Bouchard actually sneaks past Grant Riddle once again. Riddle being held up behind, I think that's Michiels, with again nowhere to go around this track, and Bouchard taking very nice advantage of that. And now Grant again with everything to work to try and get back past Bouchard again.
Indeed, as they head into turn one now, and it looks like Jacob has managed to get back out in track as well, and he gets out of the way and just gets out of the way, and Bouchard and Riddle are still going at it, and I think Grant, just watching the body language of his onboard, It looks like he wants to try and get by as quickly as possible, but credit to Jules, he's managing to hold him off at the moment.
I reckon the lesser fuel there is in the cars, the difference between them is lesser as well, so it's all down to what kind of run can you get in a single corner. Looks like Grant with a great run right now. It looks like Bouchard is very quick down the straight. Possibly slightly different philosophies there, with Bouchard possibly running a little bit of less wing, while Grant is running just a little bit more. Up ahead as well is Schlapinski and Vesa now in a battle. So Vesa, while he's closing in on Jakes up ahead, he is also... no, he's not closing in actually, I was seeing that timing wrong. But he has been caught by Schlapinski, and Schlapinski looking quite racy in behind. Vesa a little wide there, possibly some tyre troubles coming in here. Schlapinski with a half a run, but not able to make anything of it. Up ahead of these two, there is status quo for the top three.
Yeah, Ritz and Coxson, they managed to pull away at the moment, and they built that gap up to about just around about 1.9 dollars. I would say about 1.7 seconds. So just he's not pushing too much, but he's using that traffic to his advantage.
When talking of traffic, Vesa held up behind Watering, that is, and Schlapinski with a run now. And more traffic, Vesa running wide and trying to get the cutback speed, but I don't think that'll work. So Schlapinski up to 4th, Vesa down to 5th. But Vesa with a bit of a counter run still. Trying to find a move. Now Schlapinski the one slightly held up. Let's see here, I think that's Jason White up ahead too. He is, so Ibanez gets out of the way. And Jason running the wide line, trying to give room. Ooh, and Vesa with a big slide coming off of 2. Where both of them get past, and I think Schlapinski now will slowly open the gap a little bit to Kyle. No disrespect to Kyle, but he is in a much older car.
Yeah, I was going to say, being in an older car, excuse me, in an older car, it's a little bit on the back foot, but credit to Kyle, he's still doing a good job in P5 at the moment. I think he's maybe just realised that he couldn't hold Schlapinski off, and just decided to tuck him behind him. He's always sliding around a little bit as well. That car is moving around a lot.
I think that's tyre troubles, to be honest. Old car, old technology, possibly a little bit heavier too. All of that combined with not as good aero as the newer cars, probably combining to more tyre wear and more trouble now that we're coming to the end of the first stint. I think we're probably around 10 laps from the first set of pit stops for our leaders. Everything going on here. Dave Miller in a battle. That's March 86 battles between the two of them. Dave Miller in the Bettenhausen. Oh, there's a spinner in behind! Not sure, is that's Michiels, unfortunately, spinning off of turn 5. Thankfully spinning to pointing in the right direction, so to speak, and can keep going. I think he lost his... Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was going to say the same thing. I think he's lost his front wing.
Oh, that's unfortunate, but at least looks like he should be able to keep on going. Let's see what else we have going on. Thiago Canola up into 10th now, having gotten past Canola. So we have someone in the pits actually. That's Bouchard up in the pits from 11th. So 67 laps. That should be two stints, and he should be good to go. Watering up into 12th then. Bouchard down to 13th. Make that 14th because Grant Vidal runs around him, and I think Grant has pitted the lap previous.
Yep, Richard Coxson's in the pits as well.
Oh, and Fitches as well. Ooh, and Kyle Vesa nearly losing it on pit entry and trying to look for his pit stall. That's... oh dear, I wonder if his was right behind the pit wall. If that's the case, then that's very unfortunate for him. No, there he is, okay. Probably then his pit stall was in a different spot to where it was in practice. Oh, and very, very close to missing the entry there was Jason Fitch. See, so that's Dave Miller in the pits. No, that was Dave Miller nearly missing the pit entry. I'm misidentifying the March 86s. Here comes the green car of Slapinski as well. Jon Team coming out of the pits in the Machinists Union entry. Kyle Vesa himself out of the pits in 12th at the moment. Bouchard 11th, so Kyle Vesa lost a lot of time with that slow entry. Vidal in 8th, Bouchard now 9th, so that means you have Bose is in the pits.
Richard Coxson's coming onto the home straight now, and Slapinski's just leaving the pits, so Coxson resumes in the lead.
And Tuchak second, and Yakes right behind him in third. Yakes pulling a masterstroke in the pits, and look at that for an exit. Yakes sneaking up the inside, and right past Tuchak he goes.
Yeah, that was a great move. That was, I think Jake saw the opportunity there, and he just decided to go for it. And on the ovals, I guess, on the ovals, you're pretty much, if you get an opportunity and you get a run on someone, you've got to go for the move.
Very much so. Sort of reminds me a little bit of handball, because I've been watching that over the past couple of weeks. Also a case of when you get the opportunity to go through a hole, you most likely need to take it, because you won't get that opportunity in quite a while again. So Slapinski 4th now. Grant Vidal actually in 5th, with Ray Vidal in 6th, and Ray flying at the moment up into 5th. I wonder if he is running with less fuel at the moment, because he looks very quick compared to the guys he just flew past. So Grant Vidal 6th, actually Kyle Vesa even further behind. Bouchard in 7th, Kyle Vesa in 8th then. And then it's Jon Team in 9th, and you have Bose running out of top 10. With Hackman still in 11th then, with Rocha in 12th. Canola is the car I thought was Vesa in 13th. And Dave Miller there in 14th after the pit stops. Jason Fitch in 15th. August Watering 16th. Jason White 17th. Ibanez in 18th now, with Francisco Amaral in 19th. Kim McKeels in 20th. Prince Chacon in 21st, and I think he is the last car running in this race at the moment, due to a long pit stop for repairs. So I suppose, unfortunately for us, some of the battles were broken apart with those pit stops.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm just watching Ray and Grant Vidal, and it looks like Ray's pulling away from Grant at the moment. And yeah, but it's probably a good point as well that Ray's probably on low fuel as well. So yeah, that probably explains why he's pulling away at the moment. But still, as Grant gets sideways on the exit of turn 1 there, and just about scrapes the wall, but gets away with it. And yeah, Ray having a good race as well in 5th place, but I thought he was pulling into the pits there.
As did I. Oh, and now Yakes actually has taken the lead in the last lap or two. So Yates really flying after this pit stop. I wonder if he may even have made some small setup changes to the car, but up in the first he goes, Coxson down to second and Tatchak third. Oh, and Coxson with a bit of a slow exit, Tatchak trying to sneak up the inside. Wowee. So it looks like this year's ovals, at least, is likely to be a bit of a seesaw battle, where dependent on what the guys do in the pit stops and what kind of momentum they get, the positions can change very quickly between the pit stops due to the rather quick changes they can do in the pit stops. Especially with the... I think they got a weight jacker in the car. Well, I could be wrong, but they definitely can do slight tweaks to the wings very quickly, so... Definitely looks like Yates, at least for the moment, has pulled a masterstroke in terms of getting the car very good for him in this stage of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Jakes is just absolutely flying at the moment as Jakes is in the wall!
Oh no! And it looks like he is pulling over to retire straight away too.
Yeah, it just looks like Jakes lost it in the middle of the corner and just lost the rear, and oh, he's got a car coming up behind. Oh, that was so close.
Oh, he was running right up behind Kyle Vesa, that is, and I think he just lost downforce on the car and the car just broke loose on him. He tried to correct it and it overcorrected and spat him in the outside wall. Oh, that's Jon Team that you saw very nearly rear-ending him. Oh, but very nicely done. The Formula Ford looking Domino's car is brought into the pit lane by Yates, and probably quite a long pit stop ahead for repairs on that car. So that's very unfortunate.
That was unlucky indeed, and I was about to say as well, Jakes was absolutely flying, and they just unfortunately lost it and hit the wall, but managed to get back to the pits and managed to get a new wing and rear wing, and I think he might be in there for quite a few laps. It looks like there's a couple of cars that had an incident in the final corner.
Oh, that's Jon Team is one of them. Ooh, that's a bad place to be. I think he's lost his rear wing. Oh, that's a great turn spin. Unfortunately, the engine goes though. That's very unfortunate. Let's see if we can catch what's happened. Oh, looks like there's contact between... Looks like Jon Team... Oh, he had a puncture! He must have hit the outside wall and had a puncture. And then... I think that's the... is that August Watering, I think, in the Patrick car with nowhere to go and hit Jon Team's rear end as well. That's unfortunate. So Jon Team is unfortunately out and August Watering retires as well. That's so unfortunate for both of them. As Fitch and Miller still in that March 86 battle. I think they are enjoying themselves at the moment. Fitch with a great run through 1 and 2. But again, we can see you can hold on running around outside very well indeed. That's some great racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I have noticed as well on the outside, if you can carry the momentum and carry the speed, and it seems to work around this track. But Dave Miller doing a great job of holding off Jason Fitz at the moment for P11, and behind these guys have got Bruno Jacon, but he's obviously a few laps down.
Indeed, and it's actually a lap to the nearest car for position behind Fitch here, which is Francisco Amaral, I think I noticed, so they can more or less go hammer and tongs as long as they don't strike the walls. And up ahead of them I noticed Adam Hackman into the top 10. Sort of a trademark of Adam, runs quietly and often not overly noticeable. Ran the Penske's last year and had a few really cracking races there, but whenever he's in, he often runs decent machinery, like midfield machinery, and does a very good job of keeping out of trouble and scoring some good positions either way.
Absolutely, as it looks like yeah, Hackman's having a great run in the 10th position, but just behind the battle for P11 is starting to get more spicy as well, as Dave Miller's still having to keep an eye behind him, keep an eye on Jason Fitch, and Fitch, every time he gets closer, he's not close enough to make a move, and I think Fitch, if I was him, maybe try taking the high line and maybe try and carry that momentum and try and make a move, but as I say that, he's got the run on the Dave Miller now. But just, again, not close enough.
Ooh, we can see how much Fitch car is moving around as he's running in behind Miller there. So it really shows how hard all the drivers are working here to try and both stay off the walls and having some very cracking battles. Now on board with Dave Miller looking back at Fitch's car. When I notice Tatchak is up into the lead, Coxson has dropped back to third. Wow.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I wonder what's happened to Richard Coxson if he's just been held up in traffic.
I mean, possibly, but Schlapinski was quite a few seconds behind. But it is close between all of them, so I suppose you're right in the case of traffic causing all of that. Well, seeing as we are closing in on lap 100, let's actually bring up the trivia question for you all to think about for the remaining 100 laps, because that too is of some interest, I'd say. So the trivia question for you all tonight is: who won the 1987 Checker 200 after starting from last place due to a tech inspection violation? The violation in question was 2.5 pounds under the minimum weight allowed. Was it A, Bobby Rahal? Was it B, Roberto Guerrero? Or was it C, Mario Andretti? Answer to the trivia question will come either close to the race or after the race, depending on which action seems best at hand at the time. Coxson now getting past Schlapinski, and now right up behind Tatchak, so traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. Oh, and actually sneaking up the inside of Tatchak he is on the exit of 2.
Yeah, excuse me, yeah, it's been a fantastic battle, and it's shaping up to be a fantastic battle for the closing stages, as not too long to go in this race. Now, as Coxson's got a run and heading over the start-finish line, is he going to try and make a move into turn 1? It looks like he's not going to. I think he decides to back out of it, and still a three-way battle for the win, and I think it's going to be so hard to pick a winner out of this battle. As it looks like Slapinski pulls out to try and take a sneaky look, but doesn't decide against it, as it looks like they're coming up to lap Adam Hackman.
Ooh, that's one of those, pick a side, any side, as long as it's the correct one. Wow, Hackman in the worst possible position. One leader car wanting to go down the inside and the other wanted to go around the outside. Oh, it looks like Coxson, ooh, maybe not. He had a good run, but got a bit loose and squirrely in the middle of 5, and now Schlapinski with the run up the inside instead. And when the cars are that close and the drivers are that close and the track is that close, that's how easy it is to drop a position. Well, that's I just remember the blue, white and red is the Dick Simon car. Visa up in the 5th, so I wonder if that was Ray Riddle pitting. Johan Boos is in the pits. Canola in 8th at the moment, Hackman up in 9th, and Ray Riddle indeed also pitted. So that's the red car I noticed.
Oh, Slavinsky in the pits.
Oh, already? Wow, I wonder if he's trying to back time the fuel then.
That's very very early, unless he's got a strategy in mind for this last half of the race. But as Richard Coxson's got the run on the Taziak heading across the line, and they just about got caught up with Grant Vidal, who they were lapping, but thankfully managed to get by him without any problems. But still, Richard Coxson, I think he might just be sitting behind and saving some fuel a little bit.
Definitely a possibility. I mean, when we talked about a little bit and mentioned it at least before the race, that the fuel may also play a part, because you are allotted an amount of fuel, but it's not as strict a regulation as such for the race here. But there were 1 or 2 or 3 drivers discussing the fact that it could get a bit close still, so it's definitely, as you mentioned, a possibility that Coxson is doing exactly that, with that aspect in mind.
Yep, and the more traffic up ahead of them as they're going by Rocha, and they managed to get by, coming across the line, and Coxson's falling back slightly, but not too much, and I think he's just maybe just deciding to back off as they come through the traffic. So maybe doesn't want to take the risk of this set to the race, and maybe wants to see if Taziak gets held up.
Definitely a possibility. Could also be that his tires were running just a tiny bit hot, so trying to save a bit of those as well. As my broadcast assistant has entered the building, so any issues with the cameras, that's due to my little assistant here. There we go. Best way to enjoy motor racing, isn't it? Watching a great race going on and a bit of company from a cat wanting to have some pets, eh?
Yeah, Richard Coxson still is he's not falling back from Taziak, but I think he's just being a little bit cautious through the traffic, as Jason Fitz had the run and was thinking about overtaking him again, as Coxson goes by Jason Fitz as well. And someone's on the wall.
I think that was a Gallus car. I think that might have been Keo Michiels, maybe. No, that was Jason White actually. Oh, that's unfortunate too. So unfortunately, Jason White now retired from the race. 110 or maybe 12 laps in thereabouts. That's very unfortunate. Well, unfortunately, that's one of those things with these races, and I noticed after that bit of contact he and Coxson had, White's car was moving around a bit more than what was maybe wanted, and he struck the wall a couple of extra times, so just spiraled down from there.
Indeed, as Coxson has managed to close that gap back down to Tesiak, and I think Cox is pretty much decided now that now is the time to start pushing again and try and close that gap back down, because in front of them they've got a whole heap of traffic.
Definitely a possibility that he wants to make use of that. And it is, I think that is Dave Miller indeed. And Ibanez, and was that one of the Francisco Amaral it is in the third car. Tachak pulled that and lapping off magnificently through 4 and 5, and now Coxson caught behind the battle between, well, lapping of Amaral, Miller lapping Amaral, so that's cutting it fine and close.
Yep, absolutely. As Coxson, I think he might be getting a little bit frustrated. He just about cuts the front of Dave Miller off, but manages to get by. But Coxson, I think he's probably getting slightly frustrated now.
Could definitely be the case, especially with the fact that he was running right in behind Tachak, and now it's out to almost a second more than it was before those 3 lapped cars, so one of those things for sure. Again, traffic management, part of the oval racing catalogue. Grant with all in third at the moment, with Vesa up to 4th, Slapinski with that pit stop down to 5th. Off strategy now, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Buchard in 6th, with Canola in 7th, Hackman up to 8th, Juha Bos in 9th, and Dave Miller actually rounding out the top 10 in that 86 March. And it looks like, at least for the time being, he has put some distance between himself and Jason Fitch, and now Ray Riddle actually, after his pit stop up to 11th, he just got past Jason Fitch. Although Fitch again looks to be able to get very good exits out of turn 2, but not a good enough to get past Ray there. And I think Luciano Roja in behind might have scraped the wall coming out of turn 5. Now Vesa actually up to 3rd. He's gotten past Grant Riddle, who got held up behind that traffic. Oh, yeah, and Fitch spins! Contact with the car, and there's another one involved. I think that's Roja. Ah, that's unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. That was indeed Jason Fitch in behind. Vesa cut in front of him, and that upset the balance of Fitch's car. And unfortunately for Roja, nowhere to go either in that. So both of them now with some kind of damage going on. And Fitch very sportingly staying very low indeed to stay out of the way of the cars coming past. I really feel for Jason. He was having a great race. It's again one of those things, unfortunately. So Ray remains in 11th, Miller still in 10th, Bo still 9th, Hackman still 8th, Canola still 7th, Buchard still 6th, Slapinski still 5th, Grant with all, and I was going to say Kyle Vesa, but Kyle has pulled away quite significantly in traffic here. And Yates right in behind him. Yates actually in 16th. after coming out of the pits, and he's trying to make his way up the field and actually trying to sneak down the inside of Grant, unlapping himself. Ooh! Bit of contact made, but I think Yates got that position unlapping done. And Kyle Vesa now in the 85 march in third. That is absolutely amazing.
And back up at the front as well. Richard Coxson has managed to close that gap back down to Vadim Tesiak. So, yep, it's the battle for the lead is all close again. And I think this battle for the win could possibly come down to the last set of pit stops as well.
And it's right on board with Vadim Tesiak and the Acerclinth wine-sponsored Acerclinth Racing. And the True Sports #1 in behind. Looking just as menacing as when Bobby Rahal was driving in the kart series. And Vadim actually scrapes the wall going down the front straight there. This definitely looks like the battle to be watching at the moment, because everyone else was fairly spread out. Oh look, oh, and both of them now into the pits on lap 135. So Coxson and Tesiak in at the same time. Oh no!
Oh no!
Both of them late in the pit stalls. I hope Tesiak is able to turn damage off. Coxson had more time to do so, but he is really slow into his pit stall. Tesiak was faster in there, but did he turn the damage off in time? Oh, and Vesa in from third as well.
Yeah, it was so unlucky. That was just I think Coxson might have just carried a little bit too much speed into his pit box and just didn't want to try and lose too much time. But that was so unfortunate.
It's also a case of
unfortunately.
Also, Tesiak didn't manage to turn off the damage in time. Oh no! And there he goes out the pit stall now. So either that, I suppose that could also be the possibility of the fact that Coxson took on a little bit less fuel. But that too could bite him in the behind, so to speak. And here comes Slapinski on lesser fuel and technically older tires, but a lighter car, and goes up into the lead. So Slapinski with one pit stop still to make, maybe. We still don't know about his backlog strategy, if that's going to work or not. But for the time being, he's going very fast. So I wonder if he. Could it be that Slapinski is running a 3-stop with lesser fuel in the car to get more speed out of it?
It's a possibility. I was actually thinking about that actually earlier on. When he pitted early, if he's actually splitting the strategy, maybe instead of trying to do 2 stops, he's maybe trying to try and do a 3-stop race and take less fuel. Obviously, with less fuel,
oh, we have a yellow out too.
Yeah, we have a yellow.
Oh, Grant Ridall! Grant Ridall is out! Ooh, I wonder if that's a blown engine. Let's jump on board with him and have a listen. We was definitely revving it going into. Yeah, that's an engine crying enough. He was really revving it, running in behind Touchak, going into 4 and 5, and middle of 4 and 5, the car really snapped as the engine cut out, and unfortunately that's that. And with the possible oil on track, the kart officials decided that the safety car is the proper course of action. So yellow flag is out, and everyone now trying to take an opportunity to pit for a bit more fuel if possible. So it looks like Shapinski is staying out for the time being. Touchak is staying out, Coxson is staying out, and Touchak actually now ahead of Coxson. Interesting. I wonder if Coxson, because he made contact with Touchak, let him pass out on track.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, if Coxon has done that, then they credit him. It's a good sportsmanship if he's done that. And I think, yeah, the top three is pretty much as it was before. It's all close together again for the race one. But obviously, Slapinski, I think he's still, yeah, Slapinski, as I say that, is diving into the pits.
Okay, so he decided now is the time. I mean, he'll remain on the lead lap though at the back of the queue. Kyle Wesa now actually onto the lead lap, although caught behind the safety car, but on the lead lap with the leader right behind him. Let's see what Wesa can do with that possibility. Bouchard in 5th, a few cars in behind there. Hackman up to 6th actually, with the pit stops now going on. Canola 7th. Juha Boas 8th. Dave Miller up to 9th, with Ray Riddle a bit further behind in the queue in 10th. Ibanez in 11th. I believe a further half a lap down, and with Grant's retirement it means Francisco Amaral at the moment will pick up 12th in a moment as the pace car is coming in, and the green flag is back out. Ooh, Wesa with a very slow restart. That's that looked very suspect of some possible slingshotting going on. But either way, Coxson sneaks past and up into the lead, and Touchak right in behind him, and the battle is back on for the remaining 56 odd laps as they cross the finish line now.
Yeah, I have to say, with that restart as well, Richard Coxson absolutely played a blinder there. He pretty much caught Tesiak out and up into the lead now. So, a phenomenal restart from Richard.
Definitely so. The one losing out in this yellow flag situation for sure. Slapinski is still on the lead lap, while Wesa is now in behind Bouchard, so Wesa definitely lost out. He was 3rd, now down to 5th, and a lap behind the car he was battling for the podium position with. So a bit unfortunate for him, but it's the kind of things that can happen in oval racing, unfortunately. Jag vet Lucy, jag vet. Så ja.
And that's a surprise in the race so far as well for me, as Jules Bouchard up into 4th position at the moment. That's a great drive by him.
Oh, for sure. That's really, really good. I mean, Bouchard has had blips on the radar in these kart and USAC series. Occasionally been very, very quick. Unfortunately had some bad luck along the way, and gotta say right now he is definitely proving to be in that in this Alex Morales Motorsport entry. I think that is an 86 Lola T86 car, proving that he has a very good handle on that particular machine. No, that's actually a March 87 with that roll hoop. Was difficult to see at the distance. But he is not getting away from Vesa yet.
And Tasiak is taking the lead from Richard Coxson again, so I don't know if Richard's struggling a little bit with damage, but Tasiak is just pulling away from him.
Could be that, or it could be Tasiak. How shall we say? Maybe with a setup that works better on new tires, and later on in the stint, Coxson will come back once again.
Yeah, indeed, it's a good possibility. I mean, Tasiak at the moment is just pulling away from Richard and just leaving him in his dust. But like you say, Richard could have the car set up for later in the stint when the car starts to become lighter and the fuel burns off. But still, at the moment, it's for the first round of the series and this season, it's been a fantastic race so far.
I cannot agree more wholeheartedly than yeah, it's one of those lovely things with kart and USAC. It's always really good action out on track and all kinds of things happening all at once. And actually Kyle Vesa has gotten past and up to 4th ahead of Bouchard. So Vesa really driving that March 85 to bewildering heights around this track. Bouchard doing his best to at least hang on to Vesa and try to snatch a 4th place, but top 5 either way is great going for Bouchard in the first round of this championship. Canola in another one of the 85 marches, 6th at the moment. That's also very, very good indeed. Hackman actually down to 8th as we check on there, because Bors sneaks up the inside. So Bors now up to 7th for Rainer Racing, and Hackman 8th for AJ Foyt. Dave Miller 9th for the Bettenhauser Motorsport entry, and currently rounding out the top 10 is Ray Riddle, and he is not, well, it's actually a full lap behind Dave Miller. I thought it was closer than that. Ibanez up into 11th, so possibly still scoring some points for Penske despite struggling with the car in this particular event. And Francisco Amaral, last points paying position at the moment, 12 seconds ahead of Luciano Rojas, so there could still be some fireworks for the last points paying position in this race. David Yates currently 14th, but a good few laps behind Roja. Jason Fitch now 15th after the repairs to his car. Brun Chacon 16th, and I believe the last car running. And Tacek 4 seconds in the lead. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I was about to say that was a big gap after only, was it probably, when did they pass Coxson? He passed him about probably 5 laps ago or something like that, so that's a huge margin already. So maybe Richard is struggling with damage possibly after that little hiccup in the pit stop.
Could very well be that. It's difficult to say for sure. But Tacek definitely driving very, very well. Although based on the fluctuation... Oh, there's a spinner on the front straight. That is Jason Fitch, unfortunately, with another spin onto the front straight. I am Going in with a hope and a prayer that we don't get another safety car. Because I don't think... Oh, that's a... Some dirt or smoke there. So that's unfortunately a retiree for Fitch. And Ray Riddle has blown the engine. That's the smoke I saw. So Ray Riddle out as well with a big engine failure. That's a big blowout. Wow.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing with these cars as well. Basically they don't seem to be like to be revved really high or over revved. Otherwise, the engine just goes bang.
Well, that's unfortunately both the Riddles out of the race, both with engine struggles. I wonder possibly if Grant's was turbo related, because it wasn't a big fire blowout, but for Ray it definitely was. So that's probably the internal parts of the engine going. What's the English phrase for it? Clatter, clatter, clatter. I think is the English-speaking term for when all the pistons and stuff goes flying around the inside of the engine. So that brings Amaral up into 11th, and it means Rocha will possibly have a chance at finishing in the points in 12th. And Hackman now back past Juha Bors as well. So definitely positions fluctuating. Bouchard down to 6th, so Bouchard has had an issue somewhere. Lost some time, and now Canola up into 5th, so 2 March 85s, 5th and 4th in this race. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been some good drives in the field today with some of the drivers that you'd probably see in the midfield. They having a great result. Visa in 4th as well, having a great debut race as well. So if he can finish it, that'll be a great debut and a great way to start his season in the series.
For sure, for sure. It looks like Tatchak, at least at the moment, is still slowly stretching out the lead. A few hundreds to a couple of tenths a lap.
So, Teziat doing a great job as well, maintaining that lead and got about a 5-second lead now. So I think Ritzwood at this point of the race is maybe just thinking, just finish the race and take 2nd place. It's frustrating that he could try and maybe take the win, but nevertheless, 2nd is still a great result, and it's still points to kick off the season.
Quite so. And I suppose with 30 odd laps to go until the race is finished, and with the gaps open between most of the top... Oh, as Coxson actually strikes the wall coming out of 2. Oh, that probably won't help his run at all here. If he's very lucky, he hit it flat on and not at a bit of an angle, and the car will be fine. But with 30 odd laps or so to go, let's actually have a look at the trivia question and answer ahead of the finish of this race. So, just to remind you all, the trivia question was, or is, who won the 1987 Checker 200 after starting from last place due to a tech inspection violation? The violation in question being 2.5 pounds under the minimum weight allowed. And for us Europeans, that's, I believe, roughly 1.5 kilos, isn't it, under the weight limit? Was it A, Bobby Rahal, B, Roberto Guerrero, or was it C, Mario Andretti? Do you have any guesses on this one, Ryan?
I've been thinking about this for a while now, but I think I'm going to take a guess and go for B, Roberto Guerrero.
Okay. Just having a check to see. Just checking if there were any answers given earlier. I can't see any specifically, so... the stream is a little bit behind in the chat too. And the correct answer to the trivia question is B, Roberto Guerrero. Congratulations to you, Ryan. Great guess. Also congratulations to Watering, who got that right. Barry Lynn as well. Blue Moon too. Really good effort from all of you. And August going for that because he's always liked Roberto Guerrero. Fair enough. That's as good a reason as any to go for that answer. So congratulations to all of you who guessed that question right. Now, let's see what's going on out on track. Coxson still behind and losing a little bit of time compared to Tachiak, but it looks like he's more or less stagnated the gap now to 5.6 seconds, 5.5 seconds with 22 laps to go. So I wonder, it's really interesting to see whether Coxson will have something left in the tank. And I also noticed coming like a rocket from behind is Slapinski, now only 4 seconds behind.
Yeah, Slapinski has been absolutely closing on Ritsford at a rapid rate of knots, and I think just watching Ritsford, he doesn't seem to be pushing in the corners or quick in the corners like he was in the first half of the race. So I think he might be nursing damage, and maybe the tyres are starting to go off as well. So Slapinski is definitely closing him down, but I think maybe Ritsford is just pacing himself at this stage of the race.
It's definitely a possibility, but I wonder if he's pacing himself a bit too much. And in behind as well, Canola has caught and passed Kyle Vesa. So March 85 switches position with March 85. Now Canola 4th and Vesa 5th. Well, both of them still doing fantastic drives in those older chassis cars. Hackman 6th still, with Bouchard close behind in 7th. Actually, Hackman up into 6th, I should say, because he was 7th before. So, unfortunately for Bouchard, looks like he has lost pace towards the end of this race, but still a really good drive overall. 7th at the moment. You have Boss 8th. Trying to lap Chacon there and not quite able to make it. Dave Miller still in 9th. Well ahead of Alberto Senior in 10th, Francisco Amaral in 11th, and Roja in 12th, with now 1 lap between Roja and Yakes. So Yakes is chasing a 1 point in this race, with roughly 18 to 20 laps to go for the leaders. And now it looks like Coxson has picked up a little bit of pace. Ooh, that's close between him and Chacon Hole. Oh, another spinner. Oh, that's Francisco Amaral. Oh, dearie me. That's very unfortunate, but that's Coxson closing in a lot. That's nearly a second in a lap for Coxson. I wonder if that spin for Amaral slightly held up Tachiak, but Tachiak definitely seemed to be going a little bit slower. Now under 4 seconds for Coxson, trying to catch Tachiak for the win. I wonder if Coxson was, as you say, not nursing damage, but more saving the tyres for a last hurrah for the last, what is it now, 15 laps?
It's possible. I mean, the gap's down to about 3.5 seconds now, and Taziak is about 3.3 ahead now, so I think traffic's starting to come into play now, and I think Coxson now is starting to put the hammer down and just starting to push a little bit more now, because into some of these corners now. He's absolutely thrown the car in, and it seems to be his cars came back to life.
Definitely so, and he is really flying because he's pulled the gap out to Schlapinski as well, who was closing in like a rocket before. Oh, and he has Yakes in behind him now as Coxson, so that'll be an interesting situation. Yakes wanting to unlap himself and get a point in this race. Oh, and it looks like Yakes is a lot quicker right here.
Yeah, I think if I was Richard, I would maybe just let Jakes go and maybe just go by and maybe use his slipstream to try and close the gap down to Tesiak in front. But
looks like,
I don't know.
ooh, I was going to say it looks like Yakes has to run now, but not doing so. But here goes Yakes, so he definitely has to run. And there he goes.
And they get the gap down to, or the gap to Tesiak, not Tesiak, Soplinski behind now is about 3.4 seconds now.
Well, all of them are really going all out now, trying to get the last bits and pieces out of their cars. When Canola and Vesa in the battle, and Vesa caught out by Schlapinski trying to go by, and Schlapinski really had to slow down there, so that's one of those Schlapinski wanting to lap those two, but they are running more or less the same pace and they are fighting for position. Hackman still in 6th there, Bouchard still 7th. Oh, that looks suspect. There's a smoking engine for Bouchard. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That engine does not look long for this world with that smoke going on. It's a really telltale sign of what I would say is an overheating engine.
Yep, and I think at this point of the race as well now, with just under 10 laps to go, I think Tesiak is just managing that gap and maintaining his pace at the moment, and just not pushing too much at the moment. As the gap behind Coxson as well to Soplinski has went up to about 5.3 seconds now, so it looks like Soplinski is maybe just backed off as well and just trying to bring it home.
Well, it's more a thing for Schlapinski. He's not able to find a way past the March 85s, battling for position themselves. And now Coxson really flying indeed, having gotten...
I was about to say as well, that gap up at the front was about 2.9 seconds now, but it's went back up to about 3. Actually, it's down to about 3.3 seconds now, so it's gone up and down because of the traffic.
Definitely part of it, and also fluctuating from corner to corner, I think, depending on what kind of run they are getting. Oh, and Coxson strikes the outside wall coming out of 2 again. I wonder if he's gone a little bit too late here to really give Tadjak a run for his money.
Yeah, unfortunately so. I think that's the case, and as they've got about 5 laps remaining in the race now, it's Coxson's running out of time if he wants to try and make a move, but again, Tesiak just maintaining that gap.
Quite so, and actually pulling it out right now. And Bouchard has indeed retired, so that was a telltale sign of an engine feeling worse for wear. So unfortunately for Bouchard, that's the end of the race for him. Very unfortunate. He was having a great run, but you never know for sure whether you'll make it until you cross the finish line and take the checkered flag. And now the battle is on again between Canola and Vesa, running nose to tail here. So, if I may ask you, can you keep a check on the front 2, and I will follow Canola and Vesa's battle for 4th on the cameras for now.
Yep.
Oh no, Vesa! Whoa! That's a save and a half. That was a very close call.
I'm just keeping an eye on the leader now. He's coming round the final corner, and he's just about to start the final lap, I believe. So as it stands,
No, it's actually a second last lap.
Second to last lap. Sorry, my bad.
I know, it's Automobilista counts the lap strange.
But I think David Jakes has went by Tesiak as well, and Tesiak at this point of the race has just been sensible and not doing anything too silly, and he's coming across the line to start the final lap now. And yeah, it's been a pretty much a great drive from Tesiak, considering the damage he got in the pit stop, and they managed to come back and overtake Richard Coxson to take the win. But he's just taking it easy now, and Tesiak's slowing down.
Oh, could he?
Coxson's...
Oh, this is getting close. I wonder if Tachak is he either is not wanting to lap them or he's out of fuel. This is getting really close, but Tachak takes the win. It's one of those famous words: you only need to win by half a meter to win, and you know that's what Tachak did. He takes the win here. First, historically accurate, I suppose we could say too, because the RCR racing car is the car that Roberto Guerrero drove in '87. So Tachak takes the win. Coxson finishes second for True Sports and Bobby Rahal. Schlapinski finishes third for Curb Racing and in the hands in real life for one of the Andrettis. Canola finishes fourth ahead of Kyle Vesa in fifth. A great debut for Vesa. Really, really impressive. Adam Hackman finishes sixth with Joha Bors in seventh. Dave Miller finishes 8th with Alberto Ibanez in 9th. Francisco Amaral was able to keep running despite a spin late on in the race to finish 10th. Yus Buchard, I believe, will be classified in 11th despite that engine failure. And Luciano Rocha will pick up the final point in this race in 12th. And just about held on from Yakes, who finished 5 seconds behind Rocha, unfortunately without points in this event. Final car finishing was Bruno Chacon. Our non-finishers, besides Buchard, was Ray Riddle, Fitch, Grant Riddle, White, Tim, Watering, Michiels, Fredrickson, Wilkes, Pagiola, Saber, Kowalski, and unfortunately not even able to take the start of the race was our other newcomer here at ISO, Lee Moore. So big congratulations to Vadim Tachak. Now we will have a quick commercial break, catch our breaths, and hopefully when we're back we'll have a couple of drivers to join us for some post-race interviews.
Three out of 4 Indy drivers prepare their engines with a special high-performance oil treatment. It's named STP. STP is the racer's edge.
Channel created.
Getting there can be more than half the fun. Ford Escort GT.
If you like bananas, you're gonna love new Dole Pine Orange Banana Juice.
I've got a feeling today's the day.
User joined your channel.
Get going in a different way. The perfect vacation from orange juice is Dole. The perfect vacation from orange juice is Dole.
Get away with new Dole Pine Orange Banana, the only fruit juice made with ripe banana, refreshing orange, and Dole 100% pure pineapple juice.
The perfect vacation from orange juice is Dole.
Listen to the heartbeat.
And you'll hear how to get a lot more Chevy for a lot less. $350 to $1,200 less on a specially equipped new Beretta, Cavalier, or Celebrity, depending on the car you select. You could even save $1,200 on this new Corsica, with options like air conditioning, tilt wheel, and more. Couldn't you go for savings like these right now?
The heartbeat of America. Just today's Chevrolet.
At Chez Bob School of Cooking, my students attempt to create delicate soufflés and light pastries. But what I always succeed in making is a big mess. So we rely on brownie. Brownie! As you can see, it's the biggest paper towel you can buy. And brownie's tough, too. So even the worst spills can be cleaned up tout de suite. Magnifique brownie. You...
You Brawny, the big tough towel.
A 34-year-old man should not get a terrible headache from putting a toy together. I used to take aspirin or Tylenol, but today I take Advil. You see, my
User
doctor
joined your
told me to
channel.
try Advil.
Good evening.
He said it contains the same medicine as in the prescription brand Motrin. Just one Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin. Advil gets rid of my headaches, and it's gentler to my stomach than aspirin. Advil, tablets and caplets. Advanced medicine for pain.
And we are back here at the Checker
User
200,
joined your channel.
coming from Phoenix International Raceway this evening. And with us in the booth now we have a couple of our drivers in this event, along with Ryan Walker still with us as well. I suppose we should start with congratulations for them. That was a long, hard-fought race, and that's a very well-deserved win, I would say.
Well, the win is always as good as the competition is, and the competition was very good today, right till the end. So yeah, I'm very happy. I'm also very happy for Richard Coxson's performance, because I know he fought well, because I was pushing pretty hard. So yeah, maximum points, first race in kart, couldn't be happier. Everything's fine, awesome race. I had, I think, one moment with somebody in the pit stop where we both overshot. I think it was Richard, and I had repairs on for my damage, which I forgot to put off, so that cost me 12, 13 seconds. And then the pace car came out 1 or 2 laps later. And I don't know why, but I found myself back in first place. I was pretty shocked, and I'm quite honest, till this moment I don't understand what happened. But yeah, third stint was, well, hairy. I had to avoid a car on the start-finish line. Like, I held my breath there. Had another 2 or 3 moments, but other than that, yeah, pretty controlled race. A lot of fuel left. Thanks, it was fun.
Yeah, definitely looked like a lot of action going on out there. Was also interesting to see that the pace seemed to fluctuate a little bit. You were very fast in the first half of the first stint. Then I believe you dropped back a little bit. Then the second stint you were running in third, more or less that whole stint, third and second. And then final stint you just pulled away like there was no tomorrow. Did you tweak the car at all during the pit stops to try and chase the performance a little bit?
No, that was a classical case of how much boost do you apply, always having an eye on the engine temperatures. I went to 115 here and there, and whenever you go that high, you just have to back off a little then. But I was managing the pace. I was just looking what everybody else is doing, and yeah, that's how it worked out. Fuel, there was plenty of fuel. You talked about a fluctuating pace. We of course prepared for a set fuel mileage, or yeah, per lap. But during traffic and passing, you save quite a lot of fuel. So we good in this aspect. So yeah, a lot of fuel left in the end, and I was actually not paying attention, and I saw Coxson just 1 second behind me, so I boosted up for the start finish line and made it look as close as it I think really was. So yeah.
Yeah, we noticed you slowed down a little bit for the final bit there. I suppose final question in general, Toyota Grand Prix at Long Beach next time out. Street course compared to this 1 mile oval. Any thoughts on how that will be for you, and for your March 87, is it?
7C, that's it. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I haven't even thought about this. No thoughts so far in my mind about Long Beach, but it'll be, well, of course, completely different. And completely different challenge. I mean, continuity was the day, but Long Beach it'll be just stay away from the walls, survive, and don't get caught up in something unnecessary. So yeah, very, very hard, I think.
Sounds about right for a street course. Thank you very much, Vadim, for joining us, and congratulations once again on your win here.
Thank you.
Yep, as a second place, Richard Coxson joins us now, and Richard, that looked like a pretty chaotic race out there, lapping the traffic, and then you also had that battle with Vadim towards the end as well. But it looked like you dropped off there slightly. Was that down to possible damage, or was it just Vadim seemed to be seemed to be have that little bit more pace?
I think it was a mix of both. I mean, it was me that hit Vadim in the pits up the back, so sorry for that. And that's how he ended up first. I thought it were only fair to let you back in front when the safety car came. But it damaged your nose a bit, but I noticed at the beginning of stints, Vadim was a lot quicker than me. It tended to be from the middle to the end. I could potentially be a little bit quicker, but he drove well. It were a brilliant race. Great fun. I've not had a battle like that in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much you, Vadim, and who else was it? Was it Slapinski as well? At one point, you were pretty much close together, and when it came to lapping the traffic, what was your strategy, or what was your plan? Was it just try and get through the traffic as quickly as possible, or did you just want to try and maybe just play it safe? What was the plan with that?
I suppose it depended on who was around you. I mean,
User joined your channel.
if you can play the traffic to your benefit, safe, and box someone behind you a bit, it helps, but you just want to clear it as quick as you can, because the dirty air can play a bit of a factor. It's not as bad as some other series, but yeah, just get past them as cleanly and quickly as possible. And everyone were good today. I had no trouble personally. Whether anybody else did, I'm not sure, but
obviously with round two as well. Round two heads to Portland International Raceway for the Budweiser GI Joe 200. And do you think you can take your first win of the season there, or is it just another case of trying to finish on the podium and pick up the points?
I think it'll be a case of just try and get a top 5 again. That was the target coming into here. It'll probably be the target again. We'll see what Portland brings. It's a completely different circuit. But yeah, I don't think fuel will be as big of a factor there as here. But like Vadim, I think it surprised me how much we had left at the end. Could really turn the boost up. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Portland. It's a nice track to race on, and it should be fun.
Great stuff. Well, again, congratulations on second place, Richard. And before you let you go, anyone that you want to give a shout out to or thank you to?
Probably Wilkes. He helped me a fair deal with setups. So yeah, I'll shout out to him.
Good stuff. Well, we'll see you round two on February the 6th, Richard, at Portland. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on track then.
Thank you.
And we are joined in the booth as well by our third place finisher in this race, Cesar Slapinski. Congratulations on what looked like a fairly hard-fought third place.
Thank you very much. And I don't know where to start because, the outcome of this race was a pure coincidence. I got my competitive setup this morning and I just got enough laps to use to it. And so to my surprise, I was hoping for top 10 finish, honestly. And to my surprise, I'm on the podium. Just, I was just thinking about, not having any hardware malfunction, that not having a disco. My wheel tends to turn off from time to time, and last 10 laps it was okay, let's bring it home, let's bring it home, let's bring it home, and it happened. And I would like to thank August Watering for this setup. Man, you helped me a lot.
That's great to hear. Also noticed, well, I suppose more traffic and battling. Did it work the way you thought in terms of that? Like, we noticed watching the racing that you could run like too wide through, especially 4 and 5 or 3 and 4, depending on which American numericals you're doing. Was that a surprise, or did you expect that to be the case?
Honestly, I didn't want it to take any risk or to try different lines, and just slicing through the traffic might be tricky. So it's better, when I got my top 5 place, and I was 5 or 6, I knew that I gonna better stay there, not to risk any aggressive slicing through the traffic and then dealing with the lapped cars too aggressively, and but somehow and as you seen, the yellow flag came at the best moment it could for me. So I think that some 2, maybe 3 places I gained thanks to that yellow flag.
Definitely a possibility. Also, something we were wondering about: were you running a 3-stop strategy, or how did that come about that you pitted so early for the second stint?
Jonathan, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I just kept counting the fuel mileage, and when the fuel, let's say, burned out, I jumped into the pit lane, and I don't know if it was 3 or 4 stops. Just don't know, and I made a mistake and I didn't fill up the tank at the second stint fully, and the car became very light and very fast. But to my surprise, after, I don't know, 20 laps, the crew chief called me again. We've got 2 laps of fuel left, and I just topped the fuel up, but I somehow accidentally didn't top it up at the full tank. So there was some coincidence in that one all the way.
Okay, fair enough. That sort of explains that, but I suppose that in some way helped you a little bit because you had more pace than everyone else for a while and put yourself in a good position there.
Yes, I think it could be some kind of misleading for the other drivers that I became so fast. So if the guy behind you is gaining, you can try some higher boost, but at the cost of fuel expense. And I was just keeping the fuel mileage or fuel usage at 2.20 liters per lap because that's the
User
math
left your
says,
channel.
and that's all. And I didn't care about the outcome at all. If it was 15th place, I would take it.
Sounds fair enough. And Portland coming up next. Thoughts or hopes or fears of that one?
Is it Portland or is it Long Beach?
I was wrong on Long Beach. It's Portland coming up next due to track creation situation. We decided to swap Portland in early since that is finished and done. So Portland next. Thoughts or fears on that?
Well, I don't remember the layout of the track at all because the last time I drove in it was in the times of IndyCar Racing 2. It was 90s, late 90s, I guess. So my memory isn't that far back, so now doesn't work so far back. So I will learn a new track, and that's good because when you drive sims with the other physics than Mr. Wilkes is, you get the bad habits, and if you know the tracks and you bring those bad habits on this track, it will slow you down. So I'm happy that I don't know the track. Actually, I don't remember the track, and I just remember that there is a long straight, the pit lane is on the right side, and that's it, I guess.
That's a fair call on everything. Thank you very much, Cesarius, for joining us here, and congratulations on your third place podium finish.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the great racing.
Thank you, everyone, for partaking in this race. Great fun to watch. Ryan, any final thoughts on this opening round that proved to be both hectic and interesting?
Yeah, it was a great race and a great way to start the new season and start 2022 on the ISO. And I think it was a good indication and preview for the year ahead and in the league. And I think the next round of the kart series, I think Portland should be a great race, whether it being a road course.
For sure, it's going to be very interesting indeed, and a definite change of pace compared to this one. This is a bit more of a Mickey Mouse circuit as such. So, before we finish off the broadcast, let's just bring up what is coming up next here at ISO. We have next Sunday the first round of the 1978 DRM Championship. The I don't know how you say that in German. The 9th AVD MVBL Rundstreckenrennen, Bergischer Löwe. That is at Solde for the opening round, and the start times will be different for Division 1 and Division 2 runners, so keep an eye on the forum for the exact start times. I believe all cars are taken, but keep an eye out. There might be a car opening up closer to the event. And I believe in 2 weeks' time it'll be the Portland Round 2 event of this 1987 Kart Championship. But for now it only remains for me to thank Ryan Walker for joining me for color commentary. Always good fun to commentate with you. Thank you very much. And thank, of course, all our participants for racing and putting on a great show, and also our viewers here. I noticed quite a few was watching, so thank you everyone for enjoying the broadcast, and I hope to see you all back next weekend when the first round of the Deutsche Rennsportmeisterschaft will be running, broadcasted by Jason White in full. So until then, take care of yourselves, have a great week, and good night everyone.